Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another edition of Tatler Talks. Hope you guys are doing as well as can be. For around 1 hour, we're going to encourage you and entertain you and inspire you with our program. So we are all so excited for this interview, and I will be honest to tell you that I am such a big fan of this lady. She also happens to be on our March cover, headlining our first ever Asia's Most Influential list, focusing on culture. It's coming, there it is, and it's photographed by our good friend, Raymond Isaac, and the dress was by our another good friend, Rahul Laurel. Before I introduce her, I know you're all excited to see her, we did a short tribute, so please watch this.
The sun come out tomorrow, so you gotta hang on till tomorrow. Come what may, tomorrow, tomorrow, I love you, tomorrow. Mostly noise, they swear like men, they screw like boys.
There is a force here, my own, pretending he's beside me. All alone, I walk with him till morning. Kung ako ay iyong iibigin,
Di mo alam kung gaano mo ako nasaktan.
di na sana lalapit pa.
I'm like a shooting star, I've come so far. My reflection show who I am inside.
After you go, I cry too much. In time gone by, when hope was high and life worth living.
Oh, what is this?
Pahiram nga ng isang kanta, sabay ihip ng trumpeta.
I'm not scared to be seen. I make no apology. This is me.
Isn't she simply amazing? So everyone, please welcome the country's pride and national treasure, the one and only Lea Salonga.
Hello, Anton. Hi, everybody.
Hey Lea, how are you?
I'm okay. I'm here at home. Clearly, I'm at home and sipping on a drink and just relaxing and still keeping a smile on my face. It's funny
Yes.
watching videos like that. Whatever your
What
your
comes to
friends
your
over
mind?
there at Tatler have come up with. It's like it's almost a little. It's like it all happened to someone else.
Yeah.
That's
No,
how
it
it feels.
happened-
It's like, really?
Yeah,
That's
it
the
happened to
career?
you.
It's like, wow. Yeah. It's.
I know, it happened to you.
Yeah.
You're the best.
It actually did. Thank you.
By the way, belated happy birthday. I know it was your
Thank
50th
you.
birthday
I
on
know,
February
I know.
22.
Yeah.
Oh
I
my
just turned
goodness.
50. Unbelievable.
I mean,
I'm actually
you-
there.
Exactly. And you came to our collective consciousness, all of the Philippines and the Filipinos, you came to our collective consciousness via the musical Annie. And you were, how old were you then? You were like 8?
Well, the first time I did it twice. The first time
Yeah.
I did it, I was 9. The second time I did it, I was 12.
Okay.
So obviously it's a very different experience doing the same role when you're one age versus the other age, and yeah, it was quite intimidating to do it at 9.
Yeah.
Somewhat less so at 12, but yeah, I think I was cuter when I was 9, so I think I got away with so much more because I was
had the cheeks.
smaller.
Yeah,
I think I had the cheeks.
So at 9 years old, did you know that this was what you were wanted to do? This is
No.
like, oh, this is the stage, the lights, the music, the singing.
I don't know that it felt like my life's ambition
Yeah.
to do this. At the age of 9, I was in school. I had a school life, and theater was just a small part of my life at the time. So there was no air of desperation, I think, coming from either me or members of my family, that this was going to be my, this was going to be my vocation or my means of livelihood. When I grew up, it just didn't seem. It just didn't dawn on me that this was going to be what I was going to do. If I had known, I probably would have taken it much more seriously. But it wasn't. I had school. I had that life, as well as theater. And I don't think I was necessarily encouraged to put all my eggs in one basket at the time, because I was such a kid, and I guess I still had the whole world in front of me to figure out what it really was I wanted to do. Because what if it wasn't theater? What if theater was not the thing? Or what if I hated it? And, if I think there was this, if my mom was a typical stage mom and really pushed me into this, I probably would have ended up hating it. So I'm glad that the attitude with which all of us went into it initially was the same kind of attitude, I think, that I had even going into Miss Saigon. So it's like, there's a life, there's a bigger life. It's not just this. So I didn't have blinders on. So I'm thankful for that.
Speaking of pre-Miss Saigon, you were a pre-med student, I hear. But how was your how was your career then? What were you doing? I just wanted to know what were you doing then? You were in That's Entertainment, right?
I was. No. I had left That's Entertainment at around the time I was graduating from high school. No, I was in That's Entertainment from when I was 15 until 16. 16 to 17, I was in my senior year of high school. So I was preparing for my life in university, preparing for the college entrance exams, preparing for the national entrance exam. So, that was a part of my life that I was, along with all my classmates, that we were gearing up for, that next stage. So that's what we were all, taking very seriously. I can't remember what I was doing. I know that I did albums. I was still doing films with Viva Films, the teenager type movies. I was doing not much. When I was in my freshman year of college, I really wasn't doing all that much because it was my freshman year of college. I needed to focus on it. And it was hard. College is hard, and it was a very different experience from high school. But one that I will always remember with fondness because I made such good friends. And at that point, it was like, if I didn't get the best grades, then fine. But this was an experience I knew I wanted to have. And so I went into Ateneo de Manila. And I made some really good friends who are still my friends now. Yeah. And
of course, then Miss Saigon came.
Yeah, Miss Saigon came. I was actually doing a musical. I was doing The Fantastics just before I auditioned. Even while I was auditioning, I was still in the run of that show, I think. I can't remember now. Because
Go ahead.
Yeah, because one of the guys in The Fantastics, when talk of the auditions for Miss Saigon were happening, he was the one who's Jaime Del Mundo. He was in it. And he said, you should use On My Own from Les Miserables for your audition piece.
Wow.
Then I asked him to sing it. Can you sing it? Jaime, can you sing it for me? He tried to sing it, and I said, I'll just listen to the cast recording. Thank you very much. So so somebody from The Fantastics, I think somebody from production lent me the cassette of the original, the cassette, right?
The cassette,
it wasn't in the days, we were not in the days of, I'll send you an MP3 via email.
Exactly.
That did not exist.
Or
you know,
Spotify.
or Spotify, or it's available here and you have free access to it. No, this is a cassette. This is precious. This is something so precious because I think this person either had it bought for them in New York, but it was not available here in Manila. So it was precious. So I was so appreciative of it. So I borrowed it for a few days. I listened to it. I had sheet music for it. Our pianist from the Fantastics came over to my house and rehearsed it with me and practiced it just so that I would feel prepared. So yeah, I was as prepared as I could be for that first audition.
Yes.
Yeah. So I'm thankful that I was doing that show.
Yeah. And so you got the role. My question is, living abroad at 18, your first time for everything.
Yeah.
Being away from your family. How was that like? How was that like for
It was not fun. I mean, I missed my friends. I missed school. And it's not like I could text or email anybody. When you leave, you're gone. You're gone. And telephone bills are expensive.
Snail mail.
Yeah, and snail mail. But snail mail was actually not so bad. I remember it would take no longer than 2 weeks for a letter from the Philippines to get to me. So it wasn't terrible. So people would make plans the old-fashioned way. It was by snail mail or quick phone calls or the fax machine. I remember having a fax machine in my apartment and communicating that way. So it was a very different time. And now I think people take for granted how easy it is to get in touch with someone. Exactly. Which I guess in the time of this global pandemic has become so valuable. And snail mail, maybe because of stuff that's going on in the US, snail mail coming from the United States has been really, really slow. Like I'm only now getting the Christmas cards that were sent to me from my friends. Yeah. So I have to let them all know, yes, I'm just now getting the Christmas cards. Like literally just now. It's you know, and it's weird. But these are the times that we live in, but yeah, so it's yeah. So back in the day it was like 2 weeks for a card to get to somebody. Yeah. And 2 weeks down to the day. It was that predictable. So you could make plans around that, or you could send a fax and then obviously it would get there at that moment.
Yeah. So what was it like living in London and being in the play?
Thankfully, I was with my mom. Thankfully, my mom was living with me and that I wasn't living by myself. I don't think I could have handled any of that if I was alone in a brand new city away from everybody, with no immediate means of communication that was, you know, that didn't cost like a gajillion pounds at the time. Yeah. And so it was good that I had support system, somebody who was like an external brain to think on her feet as far as, okay, this is what you're going to need. This is what you need. I need to keep my head about me because this is what we have to do. So I needed a person like that with me because I was still so young. I was very sheltered growing up. So it's not like I was a savvy, street smart 18-year-old. I was the opposite of that. If I had the brain that I had when I was in my 20s, in my 18-year-old self, then obviously it would be a different story. I was not in any rush to, you know, gain independence from my family. And when I remember at my audition, would you be okay with traveling by yourself? I said, no. My mom has to come with me. That was the answer I gave them. So I figured if that was not acceptable to them, then they would have been like, okay, we'll move on from you. But I guess they wanted me enough in the show that they would take care of my mom as well. And I'm grateful that that's what happened. And it all turned out for the best. And she came with me up until Broadway. So yeah, it was absolutely important that she was coming with me.
Yeah. You were mentioning about what you would tell your 18-year-old self now that you've known all these things, but it's actually a RuPaul question. from RuPaul. Not a Miss Universe question, but what would you have told yourself, your 18-year-old self?
Not to take it too seriously. It's supposed to be fun.
Okay.
Yeah. Because I didn't, for example, with Miss Saigon itself, let's just focus on that.
Yeah.
It just felt so daunting, like such an intimidating, overwhelming, mammoth thing. Just the show. I'm not talking about external pressure, the whole, oh, your country is so proud of you, that kind of stuff. That's not even included. It's just the show. The show itself is, it just seemed so big, so much bigger than what I could handle. But then when I went back to the show when I was 27, turning 28, and then I was like, this is interesting. It doesn't seem as intimidating as it was. It's like, I guess because my singing technique was stronger, that mentally I was in a better place. I was not so easily overwhelmed by the things around me as much. And it just felt like so much fun. I didn't miss a lot of shows. I mean, I got sick a couple of times, so 3 days here, 3 days there, but in a 4 or 5 month long run, that's pretty good for that particular show. Yeah, that's pretty good. So I was hardly ever off. I hardly took any nights off. I genuinely wanted to be at work. And I made some really wonderful friends, some of whom were still there from the original cast. So I felt like I still had a grounding force within the show because there were people that knew me from when I was like a kid coming into it. But yeah, it was just much. It just felt lighter to be in it as an older young adult, if that makes any sense. To be in it at 20, to be in the show at 28 versus 18 or 20, huge difference. So yeah, and then a show like that does not feel as all encompassing. It feels like, it's just a show. It's 2.5 hours out of my life. And then I get to go home. I get to play video games. I get to exercise or get in touch with friends. And and I think by then we already had email. So I was already able to communicate with people outside that way. So, so it's funny that. So that's where that little quote comes from. Don't take it too seriously. It's supposed to be fun. Because you don't realize how much fun it actually is until you're so much older. And then it's like, So that's wisdom that comes with getting older. Yeah.
Hey, Leah, there's a New York Post article that I came across, and it had a special tribute on you turning 50.
I thought that was sweet. Yeah, I thought
that was so
really
nice.
sweet.
And if people who don't know what New York Post, it's a very, especially the page 6 column, it's the gossip column, and people read all the time in the New York Post. So here are some photos from that. Here are some photos.
Okay.
It's coming up.
Coming up. Here we go.
There. Look at that. Oh my goodness. You don't age at all. This is amazing.
Yeah, I'm
You don't age.
I feel it. I do feel it. I mean, when I wake up in the morning, everything hurts.
I know.
Well, not really, but it's just, it's like you get pains now from just opening a bottle of something. It's like I'm opening a screw top bottle and I'm like, ow, why did that just snap right there? And or taking off the price tag from a shirt. It's just one of the facts of getting older. But I don't know, maybe good genes, because neither of my parents, well, my father passed away already, but even when he was in his 80s the last time I saw him, and he did not look like he was. I mean, he was already suffering from dementia. And it's like whatever I told him right now, like 5 minutes later, I knew he'd forget it. It was pretty bad. Yeah. But he didn't look that old. So, and my mom is 83 now.
She looks great.
And she looks fantastic. Yeah, she looks fantastic. And she's still mentally sharp. And she always does something to keep herself that way.
Yeah.
So she still manages my career. People still call her when there are inquiries. And for me, if it's like if this keeps her the way that she's been for the last however many years, it's like just keep doing it. Just keep doing it. But but slowly she's starting to leave instructions for me. Anak, these are the keys to the this. These are the passbooks to the this. These are the documents for that. I'm like, why are you telling me this now? Because you're the older one, you have to know these things. It's like, because you're the firstborn, you're supposed to know these things. And bahala ka na sa kapatid mo. I'm like, okay. Take care of your brother.
Yeah, talking about family, let's talk first about your family, your immediate family. You've been married for how long now?
17
years. And Nicole is how old?
She's 14.
Wow.
Yeah, she does not look like that anymore.
I know. We have a photo. Is this how she looks like now?
No,
this is her 14-year-old.
This was her at, how old was she here? 13? 14? No. She had her, this was probably a few years ago, maybe 11 or 12. Probably 12.
Yeah.
Could have been 13. But yeah, now she's turning 15 this year. She's 14 now. And she's my height, but with bigger feet. So she's going to grow some more, I think.
And does she want to be like mom? Is she
kind of, but she doesn't like the celebrity aspect of this.
Okay.
She hates it. She doesn't like it when people invade her personal space. She does not like, she hates that. She's afraid of it. There were there were fans who made the huge mistake of going near her, assuming closeness with her. She doesn't know who they are. So she was she was a little bit traumatized by that. And headed over to where I was. And I'm like, what happened to you? She's like, there were people that were going near me and I didn't like it. I didn't like it at all. Yeah. And, people assumed that they could invade her personal space. And that did not sit well with me. It's an experience I haven't forgotten. So she is abhorrent of the celebrity aspect of this. So she doesn't want to be a celebrity per se, but she loves theater and she's kind of starting to like writing. She's writing short stories. Of the darker kind. She loves to draw and illustrate. So definitely an artistic kid. And I wouldn't want her to be anything that she isn't naturally. So she definitely wants to go into musical theater when she goes to university. And so she's like, I think I may also minor in writing, maybe creative writing. So that's kind of where her head is. That's the place her head is in at the moment.
And you were speaking about your mom earlier, and your mom is known to be a tough cookie, as they say. Has she mellowed out through the years? Tita Ligaya, hi, how are you?
No, she hasn't exactly. I can't say that she's mellowed out. I don't think that that's in her vocabulary. Truly, I don't think that mellowing out is an option for her. It would be very strange to see her kind of calm down. Yeah,
can I share my experience with her?
Sure, go for it.
Yeah, we had a Tatler Ball when you sang. You were our guest for one of our Tatler Balls, and I remember you were doing your rehearsal, and then she came up to me. You weren't finished yet, and she came up to me and says, "Anton, the piano is off key. If the piano is not fixed, Leia's not singing." And I'm like, "Oh my goodness!" Panic, like what? Stop! Don't make anybody go inside, because it was around 6 o'clock. We started around 6:30. And I remember telling the general manager, then it was at the Makati Shangri-La, and they brought a piano tuner like in 10 minutes or 15 minutes. He must have been just in the lobby or something, and he fixed it. And thank God everything worked out well.
Yeah,
that was
she's absolutely justified though, because as we say here, damay, if something happens, and and it doesn't look good for anybody
Exactly.
if one of the major elements was not working well, and I would not be able to cover for an off-key piano. There's only so much that I can do. I mean, I'm good at what I do, but I can't cover for that. So she was absolutely justified. And if there was anybody else that had to use that piano, you know, they would have been suffering as well. So I'm actually glad that she did what she did. And there might have been another piano on the premises that had to be tuned anyway, hence the presence of the piano tuner in the building. I mean, what are the chances? What are the chances of that? So let's rejoice and be glad that it all worked out.
Yes. Okay, you were cast in the roles of Eponine and Fantine for the 10th and 25th anniversary, and as well as you played it in Broadway and West End. Tell us your reaction in breaking the stereotype of being Asian and performing in Les Mis.
Oh my gosh, the stakes felt so high.
Yeah.
The stakes felt really high, much higher than they did when I played Kim, because Asian actor, Asian role, sure, it's you know,
fits.
Yeah, it's an absolute fit, and no one would even bat an eyelash, you know, with that. However, Les Mis was a whole different story, because this is a show that, number one, it's normally cast top to bottom with Caucasian actors, white, as in one of the most lily white shows that was running at the time on Broadway. So casting me as Eponine was a deal. It was a big deal. It was a big deal for me because Les Mis was my Hamilton. That was the show I memorized, you know, from the beginning up until the end. I knew everything about it. I knew the words. I could probably like understudy any character because that's how well I knew the show. It was like the back of my hand.
Yeah.
So it felt important to me as a fan of the show, as well as an actor of Asian descent. It was important for me to do it right and to do it well, and to not give anyone the satisfaction of seeing me fail. Because I always had this thing in the back of my mind that, okay, I was cast in this role. I was cast as Eponine. It's normally a role, you know, occupied by a Caucasian actor. And now here I was coming into it. So it was like, you know, I always had this feeling of someone just ready to watch me fail. Someone ready to just watch me fall flat on my face and completely fail at playing that role. And no, it was my mission to sing that song perfectly every night. It was a mission. That on opening night, nobody was going to be able to say anything. I didn't want anyone to say, "Oh, she can't sing it." You know, that would be the worst thing that could happen.
Yeah.
If I did not perform and satisfy expectation, that was a big deal for me.
But in the 10th anniversary, Leah, did you feel any ill sentiments from the cast or from people?
No.
Like all of a sudden you were the only, in the 10th anniversary, I remember you were the only Asian.
I was the only person of color, I think, on that stage.
Person of color, exactly.
Yeah. I think, yeah. I mean, looking at the
fans.
It was a global cast. I mean, they did cast from the United States.
Yeah.
They cast from Australia. So it's people who did it on Broadway. Judy Kuhn was the original Cosette who did it on Broadway. So it was people who did it on Broadway, people who did it in the West End, and Australia. So it was those three continents that were represented. So I was representing the Broadway company because I had done it there. And yeah, you didn't have to be an original member of whatever company. Jenny Galloway had done it in the West End, but she was the umpteenth Madame Thénardier, for example. But there were quite a few people from the original casts of all of these productions. So yeah, it was a little intimidating because these were titans. These were amazing people.
Yeah.
You know, Judy Kuhn is like one of my vocal pegs for life. And she was like right amazing. There. She's amazing. I mean, someone else's story from Chess, that's her. And for those who don't know her, Pocahontas is her, singing Colors of the Wind. And more contemporarily, she also did Helen Bechdel in Fun Home and was nominated for a Tony for that. She, at the time I was doing Miss Saigon, she was in Metropolis in the West End, and we were in the same category at the Oliviers against one another.
Wow.
Yeah. So, and she is like she has one of the most perfect voices on the planet. You know, it's like she can sing anything. And I just love how she sounds. There's a warmth to her. So imagine me, I'm like sitting maybe 2 chairs away from her at the 10th anniversary. And then there's Michael Ball, who originally did it in the West End. So I'm on this stage and I'm like fangirling like crazy because of all of these people whose voices I was listening to for so long in the context of this one show. I was familiar with the London cast recording. I was familiar with the Broadway cast recording. And then the complete symphonic recording, which had Philip Quast as Javert. And now he was in this concert too. So I'm like, what is my life? God, what is my life? That I get to share the stage with these people. And I felt like I was still representing my country because I was a Filipina and I was an Asian and I was on that stage. So I was like, I have to do well. So many people are going to be watching and I'm representing my country. And if I fail, I feel like I'll have failed my country. So those are the stakes that I always tend to keep in the back of my mind. But the 10th anniversary was such a thrill. But but for the 25th, different story, right? I'm not the only person of color on that stage at that point.
Yeah. But you always do us proud. And then I
try.
You won the Olivier in 1990 and the Tonys in 1991. Did those awards open huge doors for you?
Not necessarily, no. It's funny. People make the assumption that when you win an award, it immediately means that the doors open for you. It doesn't always work out that way. And even for Caucasian actors, it doesn't always happen. And sometimes, you know, the mindset should be that you are getting this award and it is for the best performance for that season. Just for that season. I mean, there's nobody can take that away from you once you have it. But it doesn't necessarily mean anything. In the greater scheme of things. So I tend to, I mean, it's strange, but I tend to not place that much importance in having won them. It's great though. My mom gets a kick out of them. So she's the one who keeps the trophies in her house. But we have to remember that, she does. And she loves it. My daughter, she won this thing, you know? But that's for her. I tend to not place importance on that. And I'd much rather, you know, like I have great memories of it. The night was fantastic. But the importance should be always placed on the work, the quality of the work as you keep moving forward. So my work now is going to be very different from the work that won me the Tony. It's going to be different. And any one of those nominees from that season, whoever is still working now, the quality of their work is going to be different from what it was when they were nominated a gazillion years ago. And I don't think any of them, you know, looks back and has any, you know, or places too much importance. I mean, it's a huge deal. It's a pretty big deal when it happens, but in the greater scheme of life, it doesn't guarantee anything. So I tend to look at what the quality of my work is. I look at the quality of other people's work. And at the end of the day, it's wonderful. And I love looking at it when I'm at my mom's house. But it's, you know, but it's like when I leave my mom's house, I leave the trophy there because, I mean, moving forward from that is far more important. And getting better at what you do is much more important. And so yeah, so when people win an award for that particular season, you know, I'm hoping that, you know, you don't use it as leverage to make yourself, you know, to give you an inflated sense of self.
Yeah.
Because it really doesn't really mean all that much after that season is over. It means a lot when it's happening. And I'm not going to take away the importance of that. But, you know?
Yes.
You know what I mean?
So we need to, for sure. For sure. So we need to talk about Disney. You are a Disney legend. What was it like to get the call?
Yeah, it just basically to be a Disney legend means you get to go to the park for free.
To get the call and find out you were chosen to be in Aladdin in 1992.
Yeah.
And then Mulan in 1998.
Yeah, I had to audition for both. Yeah, so this is what I mean. Just because you do well in one doesn't guarantee you anything for another one. So, exactly. So even as successful as Aladdin was, I could not assume that I would be cast in another one because that's a whole different film. So I had to sing for both of them in front of, you know, with casting directors and the composer and the lyricist and the directors. So I needed to work for all of that.
All of that.
Which makes it all so sweet. I mean, look at all of this. I mean,
know.
I was 20 years old when I recorded for Princess Jasmine. I was almost 21. I was turning 21. And yeah, I could get away without wearing makeup at all in one of those behind the scenes things. But it's very sweet to be able to look at it and look back on that. It was a very special time because I mean, I got to be a Disney princess. Exactly. Even if I just sang for one. It's pretty darn great. Yeah, well, for two of them. I mean, doing it for one and then you do it for another one. It's like,
amazing.
It's special. It's very special. And I get to go to the park for free for the rest of my life, I think. I can't complain about that.
Exactly.
That's like the best perk. My daughter never has to fall in line at Disneyland ever. So she's a little spoiled.
In Disneyland?
In Disneyland. She's a little bit spoiled because she doesn't have to fall in line to go in.
Is this all Disney's in the world or just Disneyland?
All of them except for the 2 parks in Japan. Okay. So if ever I go to Paris, we can go. Definitely Florida and California. Yeah. Hong Kong, Shanghai. Yeah. So Euro Disney, definitely. The 2 in China. Yeah, there's 2 in China.
There's a lot of rides there.
So it's any of the parks, and except for the 2 in Japan.
Great. You are also currently playing in Yellow Rose, which I just saw, which is fantastic.
Thank you.
Which portrays Filipino culture in its own way. And it's just released for global streaming. Can you share your experience on that? And please tell our viewers how they can catch the film. Okay.
I think it's available widely now. I mean, here in the Philippines, it's available via ktx.ph, Signal pay-per-view, Sky Cable pay-per-view. And I think I Want TFC, I think. They'll have to check all of these platforms and see how they can watch the film. Worldwide, I know in the US it's available via Amazon Prime and I think also on iTunes. So pretty much I think any streaming network, you'll be able to find it. Yeah, where you can buy movies. I think you'll be able to find that. The experience it was a lot of fun to do, but it was quick. It's like shotgun shooting. Because we didn't have a whole lot of time and I was only able to shoot for 2 days, plus 1 more for fittings, rehearsal, just, meeting with the director, Diane, and just, and just having dinner and I actually even got to see a few of my cousins. One of them and her husband who lived in Austin. So I was able to see her. So I'm so happy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I remember that we rehearsed some bits. We definitely improvised a few things. And it was nice being able to work with Diane and I didn't know what the result of this film was going to be. I didn't know that it would turn out to be this really beautiful representation of what a lot of our people go through also.
Yeah.
I mean, we hear about the experiences of Jose Vargas, who is an author. I think he's an award-winning author and also one of the undocumented for a while. And now he's very outspoken with regards to immigration. Highly intelligent human. And, his is not the only story. So there is also stories of people similar to Rose who go to the United States, much like Jose Vargas did, who didn't know that they were undocumented until they were much older.
Yeah.
So there is all of that. So there's a whole lot of stories. And for a long time, I think a lot of the undocumented were villainized and made to look like criminal elements when it's actually a little more nuanced and complicated than that.
True.
So it was really wonderful that this story was filmed. And Diane, although there are elements of the previous administration, like there are ICE raids that are portrayed in the film, it's not necessarily a political film. It's a family-centered movie with elements of policy and politics and of an immigration policy that just failed a lot of people.
Yeah.
So there is that. So that's more of one of those things in the distance that's kind of always looming, but that's not really the crux of the story. The crux is really this 17-year-old girl, this Filipino girl, who turns out that is undocumented, and she wants to make her dream of becoming a country western music star come true. And she's just trying to find home. She's trying to find her own way. And the irony is that the people that are supposed to be her family caring for her turn out to be the ones that turn their backs on her. Yeah, and the ones that she ends up connecting with are people that look at her and see what her potential is and give her a shot. So it's a really good story. Turned out to be so beautiful. The cinematography I really loved. August Thurmer did such a wonderful job, and he used so much natural light for a lot of it, so it lent to a lot of warmth and just the quality of the light was just beautiful. So that when we did see artificial lighting, you could really see a stark coldness to it, and I think that all of that was very intentional. So and Eva Noblezada is wonderful in it. Princess Punsalan makes a comeback to film, and she's fantastic in it. So I think her fans here in the Philippines will get a kick out of seeing her because she's just amazing.
And I read somewhere that it's up for the Oscars, right? I mean,
well,
there's
it's eligible.
Fililpino films.
Yeah,
Eligible.
there are actually three films helmed by Filipina directors, so female Filipino directors that are eligible for nominations. So eligibility is one thing, but being nominated is a whole other thing. So Yellow Rose, directed by Diane Paragas, Lingua Franca, directed by Isabel Sandoval, and 1,000 Cuts by Ramona Diaz. 1,000 Cuts is a documentary. So I'm hoping that one of them, if
right?
not all of them, one of them gets to be, in the hunt for an Oscar. That would be such a thrill. And I don't think we have that long to wait, if we think about it. Yeah, because I don't know when the Oscars are going to be. It's March already, so we'll know soon. For
sure, yes. You're also a strong advocate of different causes, and the Asian hate crimes in the U.S. has received so much attention.
Yeah.
Can you tell us your thoughts on this? I've seen your IG posts as well.
Yeah, I try to post as many IG stories about it as possible.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's some there is a spate of hate crimes against the Asian and Pacific Islander community. Misplacing the blame on the community for this virus.
For the
it's
virus,
like, what the heck? We didn't bring it in. This is not our fault. You know, but people are just looking for a scapegoat, and it didn't help that there were that it was named Kung flu, China flu, China virus. That did not help. And you know, this is one of those times when it's like, if you didn't learn your history, you're doomed to repeat it. World War II, there was already a spate of anti-Japanese American. There was hate against the Japanese American community, and George Takei is very outspoken about this. After the Japanese bombed Pearl Harbor, which I think got the Americans involved in World War II, the Japanese American community, like 120,000 Japanese Americans, were rounded up and brought to concentration camps, basically internment camps up and down the West Coast, in some of the most desolate, terrible conditions. So, and that really wasn't that far, that long ago. That was just World War II. This is like, we're talking 1941 to 1946, I think, or something like that. So this is not ancient history. This is not the ancient Roman Empire. It's not that far away. This is just the 20th century.
And it's happening now.
Yeah, and it's happening again. So so for Asia, for another round of anti-Asian hate, it's like, this is what happens, when there is hardly any mention of this kind of chapter in history books. People don't learn about it. People have no idea that it happened, and then you are doomed to do it again and to repeat the mistakes of the people that made the mistakes before. So it's like, it's not going to solve anything, and then the hatred is not going to. It's not going to make the pandemic go away, and you're lashing out against people who have no fault. And there are there's one man who ended up dead. So. Yeah, there was an old man, I think in his 80s, he was of Thai descent. He got kicked and pushed, and he was just going on his daily walk around his neighborhood. And he ended up dead. It's like, really? Is this what our, and I mean, I had one friend who was walking to the post office, and she got spat at. She was like, thank goodness that I was wearing a mask. I could protect myself. I'm just going to the post office, minding my own business, and then this has to happen. So it's just outrageous, and this generation is just not going to take it anymore. I mean, there are generations of Asian Americans and Asians who will just not talk about it, but this is a whole different generation of people, and they are not going to sit down and take it. So it's becoming a much bigger deal. People like Daniel Dae Kim and Daniel Wu, both of whom are actors, offered a reward to find the person that ended up pushing this one elderly Asian man into the street. I think they were able to find him. I think he was arrested. So, so this is the stuff that's happening.
It's crazy.
It's crazy. It's a crazy world.
It's crazy. In Leah, we tackled at length in the Tatler interview about what government's role should be in helping promote arts and culture. You compared this to the Hallyu of the Korea. Can you elaborate a bit on this?
I mean, I don't know that I can elaborate, except from what I've observed thus far. There is actual government support for this wave. For Hallyu, and I'm not exactly sure when it began. I know that there are K-drama lovers out there that have researched this far more extensively, who will probably be able to illuminate all of us further. And really, place more importance on the information, which I don't have it's not top of mind. But we see acts like BTS and Blackpink, and
which you're a big fan of.
I'm a huge fan of. That is not a secret. I love the these 7 young men. They are all just so talented, and so in the face of all of this anti-Asian racism, so when I see I see them, it's like that is the biggest clapback to be successful.
Exactly.
And to be classy about everything, and to continue pushing forward. And there was very recently a German radio host that said you could see them as racist, but if you're into shock jock territory, then maybe you don't. But I'm like, I don't know. I just don't like what he said about them. So a lot of the fans spoke up, and so and I'm like, this is not that there's any correct time to be racist against Asians, but this really is not the right time to be racist against Asians. And so here are these 7 young men who are just making music and bringing us joy and and giving us comfort, especially in a pandemic. And but I guess, there always will be people who will have something nasty or not nice to say about anybody that is successful like that. And I have to hand it to them for handling it all with class. But back to the Hallyu, we need support. I mean, we don't have a lack of talent in this country. And I think
definitely,
that it's kind of ridiculous. There are so many talented people in the Philippines, like so many. And we see so many examples of it, whether they're in the classical arts, dance, classical music, pop music, film, visual art, name it, photography, name it. We have incredibly talented people, but because resources are scarce, we're not able to create a wave of our own. So, and so I don't know what it's going to take for us in our country to create a wave. Is it going to take corporate money? Is it going to take private citizens to make a wave like this happen? Is it going to take government support? What is it going to take? I mean, I don't have the answers to that. And maybe there are, Gerard mentioned that there are orchestra members with the Hong Kong Phil who are sponsored by corporations.
Wow.
So there are orchestra players, I think, with the Hong Kong Phil that are or were or something. He'd probably be able to answer this better. But there's support. And where there is support, the artists get better and they're able to then find their place in the sun. And there are people here that do it. And but it's like, it needs something more. It needs much more money. I mean, we call ourselves, a place where there's so much art and artists, and yet, without that kind of support, we're not going to fly.
It's not going to happen.
We're just going to stay at whatever level we're at currently.
Exactly.
So I don't know how to solve it. I don't know what to do.
I hope it happens in our generation. My goodness.
Yeah, I'd like to be alive to see a wave like that happen for us. And it's not a wave that's instant. It's going to take this Hallyu has been at least 20 years at least.
Yeah.
So how long is that going to take for us? I mean, individual success is what we've been able to enjoy. But that's it. It's not like an entire industry able to
rise up.
Nothing like that. We don't have what's happening in South Korea.
So Leia, at this point in your life, you seem to have done everything and more. What else are you looking forward to in your career? Have you been able to accomplish everything you've set out to do?
Truth be told, I didn't set out to accomplish any of this. It's like, okay. I mean, I've been very blessed to have wonderful management and to be able to have the people around me that I've had working with me. I've been really lucky, to have my mom, to have Josh Pultz, who's my manager now, who is, he's so fantastic and incredibly intelligent. And just a good human. I mean, I'm
Yeah.
surrounded by good human beings, so I'm very, very lucky.
Mhm.
But I didn't set out to do any of this. A lot of this is like, I didn't make like a 20, 25 year, 30-year plan. I didn't do any of that. I just enjoyed things as they kind of happened along. And so I just feel incredibly lucky
Blessed.
that
Yeah.
everything turned out the way that it did. But it's kind of nuts to think about because I did not set out to do any of this. But one of my friends did say, you want to make God laugh? Tell him your plans. So it's like I had other plans. And then I was
Yeah.
placed on another road. So
But you are so blessed for doing all these things without even planning anything.
I'm extremely lucky. I consider
my goodness.
myself very, very lucky that
Yeah.
this is the life I ended up
That was-
having, and I wouldn't change anything.
Fantastic. Leah, we're going to make something fun now. We're going to play a 10 questions in 1 minute.
Okay.
And it's going to be, hopefully it's going to be fun. And the clock will start as soon as you answer the question. So,
Okay.
ready?
Yeah.
What are you currently listening to?
BTS, B, and Epic High. Epic High is here.
Wow. Your most starstruck moment?
Oh God. I was taking selfies on the red carpet at the Tonys a few years ago, and I think when I saw Mark Hamill, and I took a selfie with him. Mark
Wow.
Hamill from Star Wars. I think
Yes.
that might have been the most starstruck I've been in recent history.
What's the distinguishing character of your portrayal of Kim in Miss Saigon?
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know that there is one. I actually don't.
Okay. What's the toughest song you had to sing live?
Let It Go from Frozen.
Oh, what's a musical you can watch over and over again?
Les Mis. Any production anywhere in the world.
What's one thing you're most grateful for at the moment?
My sense of humor. That I have one.
Who was a local singer you looked up to when you were young?
I loved Basil Valdez. I loved Kula Desma. People like that. That generation of singers. Yes.
What's the expression in your face when you receive news that you got the role or part?
Oh,
What's the expression?
Ha! That's it. Like my
Okay.
eyes get big and my jaw drops to the floor.
Who's your favorite leading man in a movie and in a musical?
In a movie, that's really just been Agamulak. So by default, he wins it. In a musical, Simon Bowman, Will Chase, I think. Yeah. I think, yeah.
What's the last thing you do before you sleep? The last question.
Okay. Check if I have any messages or any outstanding leftover stuff that I have to accomplish, or check the stuff I have to do for the following day. And then I put my phone away and then I go to sleep.
Okay, great. We also have a special, that was good. We have a special treat to share with you. Leah is sharing this music video that she did called Dream Again. Leah, can you share with us the message of this inspiring song and why did you do this? And I know you asked your fans to write messages as well along in the video because I've seen it and it's beautiful. So let us know.
Okay, this song was written by Daniel Edmonds and Blair Bodine, and we were already in the middle of lockdowns and quarantine. All of us were feeling the anxiety and the sadness of not being around people and not being able to see our families and hug spouses, children, nieces, nephews, or get together with them in the way that we used to be able to. This song is a reflection of what we are going through now and our hopes for what we will be able to have again in the future once this coronavirus pandemic is officially over. Hope you all enjoy it.
Yes, so here's Dream Again video. Watch this.
All right.
I'm going up and down each day. My thoughts thoughts just keep on spinning like an endless Ferris wheel. When will the chaos fade away? Feeling all alone together, searching for a way to heal. I picture you outside my door, can't wait to throw it open wide, bring you back inside. When can I sing for you once more? I miss the music and the crowd. I wanna live out loud again. My heart's been holding out so long that we will be together once again. Let's fill the silence with a song. Our melody will lift us up then, my friend. It's time to dream again. When you have wings, you need to fly. But I've been grounded by this winter, growing restless day by day. The sun will rise and so will I. From way up here, the things I fear will slowly melt away. I hear the songbirds so much more. The day is breaking clear now. You are near now. Maybe we're stronger than before. Your light has been a gift to me. It's lifted me. Again. My heart's been holding out so long that we will be together once again. Let's fill the silence with a song. Our melody will lift us up then, my friend. It's time to dream again. It's time to dream again, my friend. It's time to dream again.
Hey, thank you so much for sharing that beautiful video.
Thank
What's your
you.
dream? How do we dream again, Leah? I mean, how do we? Hopefully, the vaccine was already here for the first jab was 2 days ago, I think. Yeah. So
Yeah, I think there have been quite a few. Like one of my friends from college is a doctor, and he just posted a photograph of himself getting jabbed. So I think the more that we see people getting jabbed, the more hopeful we can all be. Yeah, but you and I are not at the top of anybody's priority list. So it might be a while before we have our own opportunities. So until then, we stay home, we do whatever we can. And yeah, I mean, if you can stay home, please do.
yes,
If you have to go out for work, then try to stay safe.
exactly.
I gotta say though, I haven't. Well, of course, because I've just been home, I've not caught a cold in like a year.
Good for you.
I haven't had a cold in a year. I think a lot of people are noticing that as well.
Good for
That
you.
is something, because I normally catch one every 6 months at least.
Somehow the air is better. Somehow, somewhere
Maybe
in the
maybe we're giving Mother
metropolis.
Nature a break. Yeah, maybe Mother Nature is
Exactly.
having a really nice break. We got to give her that.
So, Leah, we're going to take some questions from the audience. They're going to be
Okay.
flashed on the screen. So let's
All
see how
right.
far we can go.
Let's see how far we can
first
get.
question. Trixie G. Docil. Hi, Miss Leah. What is the best lesson that you've learned in your married life?
In my married life.
Yes.
Oh, let's. I think forgiveness. You just have to forgive and fast. I think it's something that I think a lot of married couples will realize that they have to learn. So that's probably one.
Yeah, great. Next, Doi Ontivero. Who is
That
your
is a
most
silly
favorite
question. I already
BTS member?
People
Who?
already know. Okay, there's two. There's two that I love so much.
Who?
So the first bias was V, Kim Taeyong,
Okay.
just because he's like the most beautiful human on the planet. And then the other one because of just how he performs and how dedicated to consistency he seems to be. Jungkook, which is who's the youngest one. He's the one who starts Dynamite. For anybody who doesn't know who he is, he's really, really cute.
Sorry, I don't know BTS. I only know one song by
Those are the two
Dynamite.
that I really, really love. But my spirit animal is Min Yoongi, who goes by the stage name of Suga, and RM, who's like the leader of the group. One day I would love for him to be the president of South Korea when he's older. I would love to see that happen. He's just really smart and just really well put together and very inclusive in his messaging to people. There's just an older man's countenance to him.
Yeah.
It's hard for me to believe that he's only 26. It's hard for me to believe that.
Okay. Next question, Arian Lynn Basangan. Hi, Miss Leah. What's the greatest lesson you've learned from the last 50 years?
Laugh at everything. Seriously. Laugh at literally everything. Because if you don't, you'll go insane.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Next question, Maria Ellen. What piece of advice would you give to aspiring theater artists?
Make sure you have the goods, because this is not an easy job. And talent is not the only thing you need to succeed at this. You need to be kind. You need to have empathy, especially as an actor. You have to have an open mind, because you're going to meet so many different kinds of people. So it's not just about talent. Talent's only a small part of it. Being a good person is much more important. But please have the goods. If you're not talented, don't even. Seriously, don't even. It's a waste of time.
Next question, Carmina Val. You've always been so excellent in what you do, but was there ever a time where you felt like you were good enough? And how did you deal with it? Good question.
Sure. I think everybody feels that there is this insecurity and imposter syndrome of, do I really deserve this? Was I really good enough to receive that, to get that? You get over it, I think, by doing enough work and knowing that the quality of the work that you do is top notch. And it takes a certain confidence and knowledge in oneself to know, okay, what is quality work? What does that mean? So there's that. So I think you deal with it by just, I don't know, this is one of those things that takes years to develop. And, and having a good, having mental strength, mental health, strength of character. I think all of that plays into it. But this is not something that can be answered in a forum like this. This is one of those things that only you can answer, and give yourself the time to answer that. It's a weird thing. Yeah. Sige, go.
Yeah, two more quick questions. Jel Kabotaje, which performance of Kim is most special for you? London, New York, or Manila?
Oh, I mean, Manila was special because I got to bring it home. But that would not have been possible if I did not go back to the New York production when I was 28. Because it became special because for the longest time, I did not want to have anything to do with Miss Saigon. For 7 years, I avoided doing the show again, even though I would get asked to come back. I was like, no, it's like there's whatever traumas that I might have felt having done the show. It's like, no, it's too much. It's too much. It was too much. But when I went back and realized in 1999, I went back, January, I realized, oh, it isn't too much. I can do this. I'll be able to do this. So it was doing it then and realizing, this is not impossible, and I'll be able to do this, and I'll still be able to have a life. It was important for me to go back into the show. So if I hadn't done that, Manila would not have been possible. So I think New York 1999, that one is the most special for that reason, for my own mental health.
Yeah. Do we have one more question? Okay. Lucky Guerzon, as a musician or performer, what else would you want to achieve? What's your dream or goal now?
Okay, I'll answer the second part first. The dream goal now is to just get back to work. That's the goal. The goal right now is to be able to know that I can get on a plane and travel to wherever I'm supposed to travel to, and get on a stage and work with a band and be in front of an audience. And doing whatever I need to do in order to make that happen again. So that's the goal. That's the dream, is just to do it again. Nothing lofty, nothing highfalutin. I just want to get back to work. But what else would I want to achieve? I don't know. I really don't know. I don't know that there's anything else that I want to necessarily like think of as an achievement. Yeah. But maybe, I don't know, maybe do more film at this point to find roles that really
resonate,
really, you know, gets my blood pumping. After Mrs. Lovett, it's like I want to do more stuff like that. So after Sweeney Todd, it's like it only whetted my appetite for more.
Okay, and this is the last question from Matet Garcia.
This is for you.
What's your ultimate favorite Leia song? Oh my goodness. You know, I cry when this is your song. This is your song. You've sung so many songs. And I'm going to be honest and tell you, Leia, because I told you I'm already a big fan and I know we're friends and stuff. But I listen to I watch you on YouTube every night, you and Whitney Houston, or every other night.
Okay. Singing
it changes. No, a different song. You know, it's like a rabbit hole. You know, you press one and it goes to the next one.
Yes,
and then it goes to the next
I understand.
One. And you're like 4 a.m. You're still watching. I'm still watching Leia. Oh my goodness! But I don't no complaints. But anyway, my favorite song that makes me cry a lot, because it's your song that I love, 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 and then the words are just beautiful, is The Journey.
Oh.
That is of your song. I mean, this is your song that was composed for you. And the Tagalog song that I love, that I've seen on YouTube. Sorry, I'm taking time.
It's okay.
Is when you sang Hahanapin Ko, which for me was the
by
most
Jose Marichan and Jimmy Santiago. Yeah.
It's fantastic. It's the most beautiful song. One of the most beautiful Tagalog songs, and I think I've heard it as a child. But when you sang it, blew my mind. And anyway,
and Tito Joe has a good story about it, because he composed the song.
Yeah.
And it was originally interpreted by Anthony Castello. I think it was for Metropop, for the Metropop Song Festival, when we had those. Yeah. And so we did a cover of it, and Gerard did a brand new orchestration. And Tito Joe was in the concert where I first sang that version of the song. So he and Tita Mary Ann, his wife, were sitting in the audience. And I think the cameras caught him like wiping tears away after I had finished singing it. And he's like, I will always consider your rendition of it so wonderful. And and he's just one of the nicest people ever. But it really meant a lot to me, because it was the composer who said that.
Yes, yeah. And it's the most beautiful song, because it's about Filipinos living abroad and looking for what they've seemingly lost. Yeah, who leave. Oh, so gorgeous. Anyway, Leia, thank you so much. That's
You're welcome.
For our edition for Tatler Talks. Thank you as well for being on our March cover for Asia's Most Influential List.
Oh, thank you.
Yes, can we hear some parting words from you first?
Okay, first of all, to Tatler, I guess Tatler everywhere. Thank you very much for featuring me on the March cover for the magazine. Thank you for the time to get to talk to all of you. To everybody, please, let's just stay safe and healthy and with a sense of humor. We'll be able to look back on all of this and laugh, I hope. I hope.
I hope.
I mean, these are tough times that we're all living in, but I think if we just take it a day at a time and you know, try to do the best that we can, whatever that might be, I think we'll be able to weather this. And yeah. So to everybody that needs to get out into the world, please stay safe. To everyone that is able to stay home, I mean, find a YouTube rabbit hole and just get lost in it. It makes the time go by so quickly.
So fast, exactly.
So fast.
Thank you so much, Leia. The magazine is available on digital, which you can download for free. And for print, please email mark@tatlerphilippines.com. Thank you, Leia, again. Whatever you do, Leia, don't stop singing, okay?
I have no plans of stopping. So you can be assured of that.
Fantastic. Good night, guys. Thank you so much for joining us, and God bless you. Mwah. See you, Leia. Thank you.
Bye, everybody.